Okay, if it is Wednesday at 3 o'clock Eastern Time, that can mean just one thing. It's time for the goRIA live stream. And I could further say, if the days are getting shorter, the kids are going back to school, and I have Patrick Mahoney, the CEO of the FPA National, on with me as a guest, that must mean we are embarking on one of my favorite times of the year, conference season. And as I like to say all the time, if you want to go RIA, you need to learn from folks out there. You've got two great resources, or you have a lot of great resources. One, of course, is going to goRIA.com. Joking aside and self-promotion aside, another really great resource is going to conferences, talking to other advisors that have made that move. And the FPA, which I'm very involved with as well, is a great place to get that started. So with all that said, Patrick, welcome to the show today.
Thank you, Chuck, and thank you for having me.
You bet. I appreciate you making some time for us. So look, the first on-location conference for goRIA this year, as it was last year, I think, is going to be your national conference in Columbus, Ohio. And as I was saying before, I love conferences. I love the content. And as we were kind of joking offline, I love sort of that muffin top, if you will, to use a Seinfeld reference. I think one of the best parts of these conferences is talking to other advisors between the sessions, at the lunches, at the happy hours. And I've always been so amazed on how willing the advisors, especially those in the FPA, are to share their experiences. And I think that's so valuable for advisors looking to go RIA. So with that with some context, Patrick, please tell us about what's coming up on this conference and how perhaps advisors looking to go RIA or advisors in general might benefit from attending.
I'd be happy to. Our conference is going to be in the Greater Columbus Convention Center in Columbus, Ohio, over 3 days, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, September 18th to the 20th. As you noted, it's larger. It's consistently focused on financial planning and financial planners. And it's a great opportunity to bring together everybody in our ecosystem, as well as our members and leaders across the profession, for a few days of education, sharing, and most importantly, networking, which has been largely absent during the years of the pandemic. And it's good to get into that again. Our
Absolutely.
key,
Yeah, please.
yeah, our keynote speakers are going to be Jeff Bush of the Washington Update. He's a seasoned financial professor. He'll break down the upcoming 2024 election, which is on everybody's mind.
Mhm.
He'll analyze North and South, the outcomes and the potential ramifications for the economy, and provide some insights for businesses as they prepare for which way things go in November. The next day, the 19th, is going to be an amazing, just amazing keynote panel of dynamic women fintech leaders, moderated by Nicole Kasperson of Fintech is Fem.
Yeah.
And that'll be on exploring how the very human-centric practice of financial planning can be made even more human by leveraging technologies. And then the last day, on the 20th, the Friday, we'll conclude with a great closing keynote by Daniel Pink. He's a 5-time New York Times bestselling author. And his latest book, if you haven't read it, is called The Power of Regret. And that will be the basis for his keynote, where we help attendees understand that how embracing regret can help you live a better life. So those are the big keynotes. We have a ton, over 40, I believe, at last count, of breakout sessions. Most of them include CE. And they're all diverse and all encompassing as the many issues that our financial planners face in their work with clients. It is an annual conference in many ways that represents America, all different slices of the demographics of our country. And it helps you understand and meet with customers where they are, and to understand the different dynamics that people bring to the table when they're seeking a financial planner, and helps the financial planner tailor their remarks and their focus on those different demographics, which I think is just going to be terrific.
You guys always put together a great show on that. Can you touch a little bit upon the networking opportunities that will be there as well?
Yeah. So in the exhibit hall, we're going to have up to the last count of almost 100 different partners and companies that are working to support financial planners. We'll have a FinTech UX where attendees can directly see the latest product demos and engage with companies. There will be an on-site classroom within the exhibit hall with various presentations. There will be a multimedia corner with a couple of our podcasts, including goRIA, and a video boot camp coaching our friends at Idea Decanter, and believe it or not, this year we're going to have an area called Pause, and PAWS, and Relax, where attendees can play with mankind's best friend. It's going to be a little bit of different conference, and people, I think, they're going to be looking forward to it. Of course, that's the oasis a lot for a lot of this networking that we do. So we'll be networking in between the hallways and the corridors, as there often are, but then there'll be ideas and places for people to congregate and convene on their own within the exhibit hall and over meals and things like that to talk about what's facing them. And some of the best ideas that I get come from going to conferences. Even just, you could spend a lot of money going to conference, but if you come home with just one really, really good idea, it pays for itself.
It really does. And yeah, we were talking about this offline too. You have to really understand this. If you have not been to a conference before and you're a financial advisor, you really need to understand this. These conferences are, as I say before, the content is fantastic, but the level of sharing of ideas between those sessions is just tremendous. And I've always been floored with how open other advisors are to share their secrets of success. They are really, really willing to share that. And you're getting advisors from all over the country, especially at your conference, Patrick. And the culture of the FPA, and I'm on the board of the FPA here in Connecticut, is such that you are really collaborating with other advisors. And I think that is so critical. I wrote down a couple of things because I want to go back and highlight some of this. So first of all, Pause. That's awesome. Now, is this gonna be like an adoption thing as well, or is it just like a puppy yoga, but like for financial planners? Like, what's the deal?
Oh, yeah, you got to show up and find out, Chuck. But
All
I
right,
think
well, I will.
with pause and pause. It's an idea. I think there's a mix of dog as well as puppies, but who doesn't like a dog? You know, and
Yeah.
it's a great icebreaker for people, and it's an area to congregate and talk like that. You know, it's funny when you bring up the fact that people come to these conferences, and you're struck by, as am I, struck by how open people are. Many of our planners think that no one understands the dilemma that Joe is facing. Joe thinks no one understands my world. No one gets it. No one understands what I'm having to deal with. And then all of a sudden, Joe goes to a conference and he meets Mary. And Mary is the same age. And says, you know, I had the same problem too. Let me tell you how I fixed it. And all of a sudden, that's where the magic happens. And it's really not a competitive thing. It's more or less, it's kind of helping each other advance the profession, which is what FPA is all about.
And that really is true. And I can speak from firsthand experience. Again, if you've never been to a conference or an FPA conference, that is so, so true. And that's always blown me away. One last thing I do want to refocus on, because we talk through the lens here of going RIA. So look, if you're listening to this, you're probably an advisor looking to go RIA. I went RIA now almost 6 years ago. Excuse my voice. My fall allergies are just kicking into gear, which is fantastic. Hold on, let me use my mute button. Clear my throat. Here we go. But this is really important. Patrick, you mentioned I think you called it the UX. How did you describe that? The UX Center?
Well, that's a UX center to figure out looking what's the latest in technology solutions.
Right.
But and that kind of like play with systems while you're there and figure out what's going on. Some of it's going to be classroom within the exhibit hall itself, but you might have an opportunity to actually put hands on it and talk with people about how that might be working for them. And then you can draw some conclusions on your own about, I better bring this back to the office and talk about this with everybody back there, because this might help solve that problem that's been plaguing us for quite some time.
That part is really, really good, right? Well, a lot of it is, but I want you folks in the audience, again, if you're putting together your spreadsheet, as I had, when you're looking to make your path to the RI space, as I did, you're looking at which account management system, right? Looking at Orion and SS&C and Tamarack and so on and so forth, the financial planning systems, the different rebalancing systems. These conferences are a great way for you to get a taste of all of them real quick, rather than scheduling this demo, scheduling that demo. You could do it all there in that UX center. And I know you had that last year. I didn't realize that's what you were calling it. But the benefit of that is you can go and play with these different systems, get a sense, and then schedule a time for a deep dive on that short list that you put together for the ones you really want to explore more deeply. So I think the networking, the sessions, of course, table stakes, but the networking, the ability to demo multiple systems of different types of systems all in one spot in a 3-day area. And I will also say we don't want to neglect the dinners and the happy hours, which tend to be pretty good as well. So a lot of good reasons to attend. Still time to register, Patrick, I think.
The registration is closed.
Oh.
If you have, but we are taking some people on one-offs, but you have to contact info at 1FPAconferences.com.
Okay, so what's that I'm sorry, that email address one more time?
If you find the conferences section on our website at Financial Planning Association.org, you'll see where you can contact our folks and they can see if they can fit you in.
Got it. Sounds good. And we, of course, I will be there broadcasting live, and we'll be doing something from that puppy station too. We'll figure out a way to make the mobile station work from there, but I'm looking forward to that.
It's a pretty clever idea. I think it's pretty cute.
I think it's awesome. I can't wait. All right, Patrick, thank you so much for joining us today, and I'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. And those of you in the audience, I'm Chuck Bala, and on behalf of goRIA, Fueled by Investment News, I'll see you next Wednesday at 3 o'clock Eastern Time. Thanks for joining us. Take care.